Do you have any plans for any new limited edition pens that you will help design with some of your new additions to your catalog? Visconti, Keras, Namiki, etc. What goes into starting something like that? I'm sure I'm not the only one who's looking forward to see what else you guys will come up with. Yeah, so there's kind of two different ways that can go about. Sometimes the companies like Visconti or Namiki will have their own design. They come up with it. It's a limited edition. It stays secret. We're kind of let known about it ahead of time so that we can begin preparing for it and get excited about it. But it's really not anything that we're involved in helping to develop. It's just something that we are let known is happening, and we can choose to participate in it or not. And we'll make that call based on a variety of factors. Sometimes it's very difficult because if it's not public yet, we can't say like, oh yeah, everybody's buzzing about this. Not really the case. Like for example, the Lamy pens, which are now public, the Lukes and the limited edition anniversary Lamy 2000. We had to put our order in before we knew what the pens were. And we were like, okay, that's a little difficult. Can you give us any idea? And it was like super secretive and stuff like that. And it was like, it's hard for me to tell how many pens we're gonna have people asking us for if we don't know what it is and we don't know how much it costs. But we were able to get some of that information, especially the cost is really pretty important. And we had that, but we didn't have a picture of the pen or anything. We were like told generally what it was going to be, but had no picture, and we had to place our order for that. So it's like you get in that situation where it's like super secretive and stuff. And in those kind of situations, we might know about something a month or a couple of months ahead of time, but we can't say anything. So all that to say, I can't say anything about any of the limited editions that I haven't already made public, because if it gets leaked out and then the whole like marketing strategy and everything they've tried to do gets all blown out of the water, and they're not able to effectively serve and sell these pens like they could if they have a more coherent marketing strategy. That said, pretty much with rare exception, pretty much every major limited edition that comes out gets leaked from somewhere. Some blogger in Singapore or a retailer in the UK will leak out an image or something. Sorry, not to pick on you guys, UK, but like something. A lot of times a retailer from the US. If something happens where it gets leaked out somewhere, and when that happens, it's like boom, it's on Fountain Pen Network, it's on Reddit, it's everywhere. Everybody starts blogging about it, tweeting it, Instagram, everything, and then it's like you're done. Like it's just that you can't take it back. And that's really kind of like, we're trying to work with some of these manufacturers to be like, okay guys, like I understand you want to like keep control and have your consistent message and stuff like that, but like when it becomes like super ubiquitous and like everybody knows about it, can we really not say anything still? Like, because we're official retailers, we get the blessing from these companies about like when we can put it on our site and talk about it and stuff like that, which, I fully respect that because that's what I've signed up for, and I want to work with them on their wishes, what they want to do. But it is kind of confusing and frustrating when it's like, okay, there's this pen that's out, there's pictures of it, I'm looking at it, can I really not address it and say, yeah, that's the pen that's coming? Well, sometimes we can't until it's super, 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 super official. So that's the situation that happens sometimes. So really it's not until like we get the blessing from the manufacturer to say, yup, this pen is public, go talk about it, get everybody ramped up. Because, which I understand, everybody's got their own strategy, but generally speaking, if you've ever taken any marketing or business classes, you know that like there's a period, like when you're launching a new product, where people start to know about it, gets talked about, everybody gets really excited, and it's called like riding the wave, which I don't know if that's an official term, but that's what I call it. You ride the wave. So everybody becomes aware of it, it's on everybody's mind, they're really excited about it, and that's when you want to launch the product, because then everybody gets happy. If you come out too early, everybody gets really excited about it, and then it's not here, and then again it gets talked about, and everybody gets frustrated, and they kind of move on and forget about it and do other things, and then when you launch it, boom, your sales are going to be here instead of up here where they could have been if you just launched it at the right time. Not to pick on TWSBI here, but this happens with TWSBI products. Like, people get really excited about the prototypes that TWSBI will post on their Facebook page, which are like 2 years ahead of time. And then we get asked about them like crazy, and people talk about them for forever. Now, again, people will get excited about them again when it comes back, but there is definitely an art and a science to, marketing a new product that comes out. And I think that's what most of these manufacturers are trying to do. The challenge is when you're dealing with a global economy, worldwide brands, you got distributors and stuff that are set up in different continents, it gets really difficult to try to control that with as instant as communication as we have today. Because I'm not joking, what'll happen is half the time, and it depends on the brand, but half the time a new limited edition pen will come out or be announced or something like that. Sorry, not like announced officially, but like be made aware of in the community. We'll see it on some random blogger's Instagram profile or something, and it like spreads like wildfire everywhere. And we find out about it fairly quickly because we're pretty plugged in. And then we immediately go back to our manufacturers and we're like, hey guys, what's this pen? Where is it? How much is it going to be? We're getting inundated with questions. What's going on? And they're like, we haven't even made that public yet. Like, we haven't even told you about it yet. And we're like, yeah, we already know about it. That happens more than you would think because we're just a very interconnected world these days. So that's that situation. With those limited editions, I cannot talk anything about those. Now, when we're talking about pens that I am helping to develop, and I have some things in the works, that is a little more, like I'm talking like exclusives and stuff like that we do from time to time. That really I have a lot more control over because it's kind of our thing. So there's a little bit more flexibility there. And it really kind of depends. There's really two different kinds of limited editions there are. There's limited editions that's like an existing pen is just done in a slightly different color or a different material, but the design is really the same and there's not a lot of R&D that goes into it. It's just using a unique material and you kind of number it and it's limited and that's it and then it's gone. Those are fairly easy in the grand scheme of things to turn around, which is why typically ones like that are not higher in price because it's just changing material. The manufacturing process and everything is not any different. A good example of that is the Delta Unica Matte Black that we have. It's our retail exclusive. We, collaborated with them to develop that, but it was just a different material of a pen that already existed. And we were like, hey, can we get blacked out trim? Can we do some of this stuff? And they were like, yeah, we can already do that. So it was a matter of like collaborating on some of the design, but it wasn't like, I want a pen and I'm going to send you a sketch and then you like tune your machines and stuff to make this whole new center band that you've never done before and like all this kind of stuff. That kind of stuff is a much longer horizon. That's where you're looking more like a 2-year horizon to develop a whole new pen from scratch, as opposed to maybe a 3 to 6 month horizon, just changing out materials and stuff, depending on how many you're doing and what the scale is, and what material you're using. But if you're talking about something that's really a whole new pen, like some of the limited edition Viscontis and stuff you see, if you look at their, I'm trying to think of some that have really been truly unique recently. This is maybe not my best example, but the Erotic Arts pen that they did, right? Very different, very unique pens. Or a pen like their Declaration of Independence, a lot of design elements that are unique to that specific pen. It's going to be higher in price because there's a lot more involved in manufacturing, research, development, marketing, promotion, and so on for those, and there's a longer horizon. So there's a lot more to it. Usually that's not quite as much of a like retailer exclusive type of situation. That's usually something they're going to want to take global because they're going to need to try to sell as many as possible to get the per piece cost down. And there's all kinds of economics and stuff involved in that, but you have a certain amount you have to pay for research and development and these machining and all this kind of stuff. So you have to sell a certain number of pens to really make it worthwhile. The more pens you sell, the lower the cost can be per pen. But then, of course, when you get into limited editions, it's going to be very niche and it's not going to be for everybody. So there's this whole art to doing limited editions, which when you get into the whole new pen type of thing, that's where it gets really risky. And also really interesting with the theming and stuff like that. Things like the Delta Matte Black Unica, the cost stayed the same, relatively low risk. We felt pretty confident that pen would be pretty popular, and it was. So that is a little bit more straightforward. And then, that definitely covers that. So, yeah, I really can't talk about anything that I have in development right now. I will say I have a couple of different projects in the works. And just in general, when it comes to limited editions and exclusives and stuff like that. I personally find them exciting as a fountain pen enthusiast. I really like them, and I appreciate the innovation that comes from that. It's the excitement in the community. It can really help, from a business standpoint, can really help to revive a brand too. It's no mystery that a lot of the brands that you kind of don't really hear a lot about stay pretty stagnant and don't come out with new stuff very much. Whereas the brands that are coming out with a lot of new stuff all the time get talked about more, stay more vibrant, more on people's minds. They engage more with the community, so they're more on the pulse of where everything is going. So there's definitely a correlation between how popular a brand is and how much new stuff they come out with. Just like pretty much any brand would be, right? It's not just a fountain pen thing. That's with pretty much any brand. Same thing goes with ink, for that matter, if you want to really get into it. But yeah, so I have some things in the works. They're going to be set to come out around October, November. So be on the lookout for some of those things. I will not allude to what they are, but I will say that I'm always on the lookout for. So they're doing some cool stuff, especially, just showing my hand here, as an online retailer selling similar products that you could buy at other retailers. I'm very much incentivized to try to sell things that are unique, that are exclusive to me, because that gives you a reason to shop with me instead of Amazon or somebody else. Also, it's really exciting for me, and I love doing it. That's just a huge bonus. And it serves the community as well, because having been deeply involved in the fountain pen community for a number of years, I feel like I have value to add to the products that are developed, and that's really cool and validating for me to take what I've learned from my experience with the community to then help develop a product that's then responded to very well. That's like yay for everybody, right? Everybody wins in that kind of situation. So it's really exciting. I got some cool stuff in the works, and the limited edition stuff. And I don't try not to get greedy with it. I try to keep the price as reasonable as I can with that stuff. But sometimes it's difficult. But yeah, that's where we're at with that.